Hey everybody, Al here from LiveX, and today we have an unboxing of the JVC GY-HC500U, a professional camcorder with a 1-inch sensor with tons of IP connectivity. Whether that be RTMP to your favorite destinations like YouTube and Facebook, or using it for SRT to bring it into your productions, whether you like to use softwares like vMix, or cloud services like VVCR, or hardware like the Panasonic Kairos, or high-vision Makito X decoders. So this system is really fascinating because it allows us to use SRT rather than having to send out, say, a live view to capture both video and audio in real time at very low latency, at very high quality, with all the kit and caboodle that you need in a really slim package. So with all that excitement being held within this box, let's go ahead and open it up. So let's open up the top here. That. So you got a little warranty at the very top to greet us, and want to make sure that we register our products here. So letting us know that we have a limited warranty, JVC. Cool. Really important that we fill this out. Looks like we got a power supply, like a little pigwit type situation going on here. You know, unlike our friends at Blackmagic. At least JVC includes this stuff. Power supply as well. Pretty standard DC connector, not locking, which is a little unfortunate because, you know, that's the last thing we want to have unplugged from our camera while we're live, but, you know, definitely want to be using batteries as a backup. Next door looks to be a nice, like, courtesy brick. Looks like this is a little bit different than what we're used to using some of our Sony cameras, but this is a looks like it's proprietary JVC lithium-ion pack battery. Nice that they included one at least, so you can get up and going as soon as you get the camera out of the box. But I'm really curious. I've never seen this kind of battery with this many connectors on the side here. It's really interesting. I'm sure they look like the exact same form factor as some of the Sony batteries, so it probably gets pretty confusing pretty easily. It came in some nice bubble wrap, and I'm wondering what this thing is. Little cable protector. Looks like a spare part. That's nice of them. Never seen that before. Cool. You know, styrofoam. And the main event. There it is. Sweet. Wow, that's pretty beefy. Cool. So there it is. Connected cam. I like that. That's pretty nifty. They really are trying to push that quite hard on the branding here. We are really familiar with the Sony PXW series of cameras, specifically the PXW Z280 cameras, which we got a couple years ago. So this is really that same kind of form factor. To be completely honest, it looks almost identical to that. I feel like most camcorders nowadays are sort of this general shape. This looks a lot slicker though, and I gotta say, than the in terms of just like the way in which they've done, how they've managed the look on the top handle here. I really like the way they've integrated the LCD. I think this is a newer camera, right? Like they had a couple more years over Sony to update this camera, but LCD seems really nice. I actually do want to get this thing turned on just so I can see some of the bells and whistles, check out the quality of the screen and such. But yeah, on the back here, we have another battery release button here, so just a sort of a drop-in situation. On the back we have SD card slot. This nice little lid thing kind of covers it up. Your eyepiece with looks like your correction sort of thing if you're going to be holding it up to your eye. You have your transport control, or I'm sorry, your record button really, your focus control, your zoom controls there, same as you got on the top handle, really simplified on the top handle. I think that's really the biggest difference between this and Sony. The Sony has a lot of stuff going on top here that sometimes you use, sometimes you don't, but they've really concentrated everything to the side over here. So we have all of our usual ND filter stops. I'm not sure if this is a mechanical thing. It looks like it's not because I don't feel anything rotating within the camera, so it must be an electronic control. Manual focus and auto focus adjustments. Here, along with a push to auto, some user buttons, along with iris, your A/B and preset buttons for your white balance, along with low, mid, and high range for your gain structure. Some additional buttons on the side here for gain, I guess a cancel button to get out of a menu, and some focus assist, some other user buttons that appears. So AE lock /4, so I imagine that by default it's an auto exposure lock, and then 4 being the 4th user button. An on-off button, which is here, whereas on the Sony it's on the back. Kind of like that. So it's booting up now. Full auto options here, which is nice. Then we have our lens, which is a f9.43 to 188. So that's pretty sizable range. It's a 20 by zoom range, which is fantastic. My broadcast camera knowledge is rather limited, to be completely honest with you, but 20 by seems like pretty decent. I come from a film background, so understanding the relationship between 1-inch sensor and a 35mm sensor is a little bit different, but 20 by optical zoom, that's pretty substantial, especially considering that this is a fixed lens, so what you see is what you get. No pun intended. One of the features I think that's really important to mention on the back here is how do we get connected over SRT, and I think JVC has published some videos, some tutorial videos on their YouTube to sort of simplify that process. It goes into some of the menu making here, but on the back there are some Ethernet ports. There's one Ethernet port, I should say, and then there's a USB port for, I guess, for control, along with an SDI output. And then we have an aux for, I imagine, a headphone, an HDMI port, a remote port, like a LAN cable type situation, and then there's your DC power supply input as well. On the back here, just to remove the battery for a hot second, there's this external slot, and based on my research from earlier, this is where you would put in the optional hardware to encode H.265, then the standard, as opposed to the standard H.264, which comes built in on the camera for SRT encoding. So that's great. So it's future-proof. We love H.265. It becomes a little bit of a problem, but the quality you get out of that kind of image is pretty stunning for the low bandwidth that you have to use to stream out. So turning the camera on right now, one last thing I just want to see is the quality of the screen and glare, because I have some top-down lights here. So let me see. I'm just going to tilt it around. Looks pretty good. First time using the camera. One last thing I found here. Really nice is that they included all the audio controls up by the viewfinder, so you can make pretty quick changes on the fly. And you have some additional monitor settings as well, which is fantastic. I think that's a really nice little feature, so that's nice and protected when you cover the viewfinder. But again, looks like a pretty full, great, that's awesome. So full rotation on the screen. So if I set it up on a tripod for, the Talon pretty much has a confidence monitor built into the system. If, say, I'm going to be sending this kid out to do a remote hit or something like that, put this up on a tripod, instead of having the camera operator look at the screen, at least the Talon will be able to reframe themselves. So this is really nice the way it's compact. Of course, on the front, we have a tally light, I guess, for recording. A nice mount for your microphone if you wanted to add like a shotgun for run and gun type stuff. But if you're missing that, you have some built-in microphones. Not sure how good they sound, but I'm curious to find out. Really solid little product. Typical lens hood built in right in there. It's pretty cool. I like how it's diagonal. That's sick. So love that. Love the focus controls. This is really nice and grippy and ergonomic. So yeah, this is really exciting. I'm sort of hesitant on like what the build quality would be with this thing, but it looks promising. I think the covers built in like this are really nice with some of the connectors here that that you want to make sure are really solid, especially if you're relying on this system and this system alone to capture your SRT feeds. So those are most important, especially if you're like going into battle or into the trenches with this thing, flying all over the country or doing what you need to do to get your shot. So yeah, a really exciting product from JVC. I'm really excited to be able to utilize this for some of our upcoming shows. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing, and if you'd like to see more, please let us know what you'd like to see us unbox by dropping us a comment down below. And thank you so much again for watching. I'm Al from LiveX, and we'll see you guys on the next one.